I'll be showing you how to make this sequential animation using the index node and some clamping. It's really easy to do, and I think you'll be able to work it into your own animation super straightforward. So we're in the Blender scene. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do just a grid to make it really straightforward. A grid right here that's popping in, and then we're going to want to just make sure we have these verts. So let's just do an integer node here, and then tie this to be the same, and let's just do like 5 by 5. Great. So now we have all of these points coming through, and we can then instance something on the points. So let's do instance on points, and then let's instance like a cone to make it super straightforward for us to see the orientation. It's way too big. You can put a value node in the scale and set it to like 0.1 or something. And now we have this kind of grid of cones. Cool. So we have the cones, and now we want to make sure we can orient them so they're like moving in a certain direction. How do we do that? We do a rotate instances node. And then the question is, how are we going to have it go sequentially from like this way down, essentially? That's what we want to do. What we do know is if we have the index node here, and we preview it, will it work if I do this? I forget what it was. It was like value. Okay, so then in order to see the index number, what we can do is just do this, and then we can see it really cleanly. So we go into viewport and we make sure we turn on the attribute text, and that will allow us to see everything. So now it's good to go. And so then here we go. So as we can see, this is the index going from 0 to 24, right? So we have the index here. So now we want to use that as a rotation. So we know what we can do is we can plug this into a separate XYZ or a combine XYZ like this, plug it into the rotation. And if we were to use, I guess, the X or the Y, let's do the X, we plug it in here. So now we're getting the indices going through, but remember it's going from 0 to 24, right? So how can we make sure that this is only going a certain amount? Well, we can use as a math node and we can clamp it. And that's going to be the easiest way of doing that. So we're going to do a math node right here, and we're going to say subtract, and we're going to clamp it. And if we go down like this right here, we now have it going through a nice rotation, right? We're seeing it go through a certain amount. So what's cool is if we take this, it's if we did an add instead. That's going to make more sense for the math. Yes. So we're going to want to do the rotation. So let's take this and multiply it by tau. The tau is the 2 pi, so that'll be a full flip. This one should not be clamped. That's moving pretty quick. It's moving through. So now we have this whole animation going for us, as we can see. So again, we know at 24 is where it starts. So that's why at 24 right here, that's why it's starting, because this is right here, number 24 on the index, remember? So if we do this here instead, on the instances, we're gonna have a clean look at it. This is number 24, as we can see. So as we go through, I'll put it here, I guess. So we go through, it's gonna clamp in. So then the question is, how can we have it be like multiple go at the same time? So before we have this clamp, what we can do is divide or multiply by a number. Let's say multiply by 0.25. So that's 4 of them. So what do you think will happen? Maybe more than one will flip. We go to this guy right here. There we go. Now it's going through and it finishes up right there. See, that is the main way of thinking about it. Now we're going to figure out how do we want this to loop through. So now we need, it's going from, let's say 1. So 1 is the end. So 1 is the end. And it's -6. There we go. So it's 1 to -6. That's the range we want to have. So we can use this with another set of nodes to better find a way to kind of have it loop. So if we take a scene time, we have our total number of frames. So let's say divide it by, I don't know, we could do 180. So it could be a 3-second animation. So you go into here, set it to 60, start off on 0. Now it's going to go from 0 to 180. And that's going to be going into this. We know we want to go from 1 to -6. So we're going to do a float curve. And then this is going into here. So right here, what we know is this is going from 0 to 1, because we're taking basically like that value from 0 to 180 divided by 180. That's going to be 1 essentially, right? So this is coming in. So now we have a way to interpolate the curve to make it change animation how we want. And then we're going to put a map range here. And then we know this, we want this one to go from negative, this is fine, 0 to 1, and it's going to go from 6 to -1. It should just work. We can't clamp this. Will it work now? Hello? 0. Oh, let's think about this. Maybe it's -1 to 6. Let's just double check this. -6 to 1. So if we have this coming in, it's going from 0 to 1. We know from frames going from 0 to 1. Oh, it's -6 to 1. There we go. -6 to 1. That range was off. It was just the math was off here. Nice. And I think we can reinterpolate as we want to, like this. Go fast and then slow, or I can start like this. Go slow then fast. I think that's probably fine. What we can do instead is maybe just do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's a bit too quick, so I think I might need to increase the number of frames. So let's add a second. Let's do +60. And then if we do that, we can add it to be here as well. Nice. I think this is quick. It's looping is looking okay. So that's good. So now what we can do is we can add in the shading to make it work and be done. But I think I might make it cubes to make it easier. Let's do cubes instead here. Let's do a cube. And then let's do transform geometry, rotate 45 degrees, and then like 45. I'm happy with that. And then let's also make it a bit smaller maybe, as if we did this. Nice, I think it looks pretty cool. Let's set a material. We got a shading. Go to our material. Can make something quick. Oops. So lower this down to like 500. And then we do Shift D and just change the lights a little bit. That could be a fun way of getting it to be textured cool. And then let's just do map range. And now we're just going to add some roughness to make it more interesting. And we can have it be this, and let's make it go from like 0.1 to 0.4. That seems good. And then from here, object, plug it in. We can randomize this too with object info. And we add in the random value for the instance. We do a vector math, plot this in, and it should work actually fine once we do that. What? This should be color, random, object. This should be linear light. What? Let's do a vector math. I don't want to mix. Vector math. There we go. This should just work. Yeah, and this will offset everything. So now the noise textures are all unique because they have different starting, essentially, positions. And then that will make them look a bit more unique overall, which is cool. And then let's plug this in. Nice. And let's do a bump node. This can be the height, and this can be the normal. We pop this in here. And now we're getting these crunchy guys. And we can really dial it back. Something like this. There. And I might actually cut off the orthographic on the camera to make it more fun. We do this, we do orthographic, we increase the scale a lot. I'll add an extra second. And let's just make it a tiny bit more linear. Yeah, I think it's actually, I don't like the orthographic. Let's make it perspective. And so we get like 100. And then mash plane, grab Z. Nice, so I think this is actually a good way of stopping. So I was able to do a quick material just by doing essentially just some bump map and then a quick little map range with the noise texture to kind of get it looking good. I decided to move with another shape to reference, so I just used a beveled cube to make it look a bit better. I added some colored lights to make it look kind of interesting. It was pretty quick to do. And then, yeah, it's all pretty good, and I think the animation plays okay. I'm happy with it. I'm gonna render it out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to pick up the project file, feel free to grab it on Patreon and let me know if you have any questions.
Augury.